What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Stats Aren't Sealy, back with another banging episode of Sealy Strategics. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about something serious, man. This is super serious. This video is probably going to get demonetized because I'm going to be showing some graphic content. Today's topic is going to be the importance of why you should not speed reholster your weapon when you don't have to. That is today's episode. Alright, man, let's jump right into it, man. So I'd rather put this message out and not get paid by YouTube for it because of the graphic content. It's not no video, it's just going to be still pictures of a gunshot wound. So just a parental advisory. If you're squirmish, man, I'm going to be putting the pictures up as I talk about it and why I feel is super important, why you should not speed reholster your weapon. You know, a lot of people, you see guys in the range and they're shooting and they're booming there and they're, they're speed reholstering, they're trying to look super cool in the videos and stuff like that. And I always say, man, it's like, look, there's no reason for you to be super fast putting your weapon back into the holster, because if your gun is out of holster and pointing to a target, whether it's you're an imminent threat, whether it's a human being, an animal, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason for you to hurry up and put your gun back in the holster. I mean, what are you gaining from that? You're not gaining anything putting your gun back in the holster super fast. Now, do I think there is times that you should be able to put your gun back in, or your weapon back into your holster expeditiously because you need to get hands on, you need both hands for whatever reason? Yes, there is a time and place for that. But if you're on the range shooting, training, qualifying, certifying, whatever you're doing, there's no reason for you to reholster your weapon super fast. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had this one guy on Facebook, on one of my Facebook reels, when I was talking about doing some dry fire drills or whatever. This one guy was like, he came into the comment section, he was making fun, and he's all like, you have to look down into your holster to reholster your weapon. That is lame. I don't never look down on my holster when I reholster my weapon because I am immaculate. I am superior to you because I don't have to look at my holster when I reholster my gun. And I told him, I mean, that's cool and all. I mean, there's times when I reholster without looking, but my mentality is if I have the opportunity to look down in my holster, whether it's a range holster, whether it's my concealed carry holster, whether it's my duty belt holster, if I can take 2 seconds to look down to make sure that there's no garment, there's no equipment, there's nothing blocking my holster, that's going to block the gun from going in the holster or possibly get caught up in the trigger while I'm reholstering, I'm going to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? What's it going to hurt? What's it going to hurt to take 2 seconds if you can? Now, I get it. There's like about a 2% chance of why you would not need to look down into your holster when you reholster. For example, if you're a police officer, you're some type of public safety officer, law enforcement, or whatever you do, and let's say you have somebody at gunpoint, you're giving them verbal commands, your gun is out. If your gun is out, it's because you're possibly going to use your weapon in self-defense. You're probably going to have to use your weapon to stop whatever the threat is, right? So because your gun is out of holster. So why do I need to rush and hurry to put my gun back? Now, like I was saying, if you're a police officer, public safety, whatever, you're doing, and you got your gun at somebody and you're giving them verbal commands and this person is complying, let's say, you finally get this person to comply to whatever you're saying and you get their hands or whatever, and you're getting ready to get hands on to put handcuffs or whatever restraints on them, then yeah, I would want to put my reholster my weapon without looking. That would be like one of the only times, I reholster my weapon without actually checking my holster to make sure my holster is clear. If you got your gun out and let's say you're about to get hands on with somebody that kind of resisting, they're on drugs, they're not really a threat to you, I mean, which you never really know because anything can turn left. Somebody could just be scared to go to jail and they'll fight you and try to fight you. They possibly don't want to hurt you, they possibly don't want to kill you, but they don't want to go to jail, and people do stupid things when they don't want to go to jail. So if I'm about to get hands on with somebody and let's say I got my gun up for whatever reason, but I kind of feel like this person's not a threat, but I need to get them under control, then yes, I'm going to try to put my gun back in the holster. And let's say if I want to get my non-lethal, let's say a taser, let's say I want to get my OC spray or whatever, and I want to keep then I'll reholster. Like I said, if you're working in a law enforcement capacity, whether public safety, no matter what you're doing, and let's say you had your gun out because this person posed a threat, but then you're giving them verbal commands and they're starting to actually comply, and you want to reholster. You figure, okay, I don't need deadly force, let me go to more non-lethal, and you reholster. I get it, and honestly that's not even a good comparison, because in any type of law enforcement, public safety duty, professional duty manner, you want to use levels of escalation of force. So first you're going to try to use non-lethal means. The only time I'm going to pull my gun out is if I feel like I'm in immediate imminent danger and my gun is coming out. So if your gun is coming out, if your gun is your first choice, then obviously you're in immediate imminent danger and you're going to have to stop a threat. Non-lethal is not an option. Even if you get your gun out and then for some reason you're gonna go non-lethal for whatever reason, okay, I get it, then you want it. But I feel like that's gonna be slim, because you're gonna use escalation of force. You're gonna try non-lethal means, and then I'll probably try OC spray. If OC spray don't stop him, I'm busting out my taser. My taser don't stop him and he's still coming at me and he has a weapon, then what I'm saying, it's gonna be deadly force. But like I said, every situation is different. There's no cut and dry situation, because a situation can start off non-lethal and then ends up being deadly, or it can just immediately start off being deadly. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, back to the topic. I don't want to get off topic, man. But the whole purpose of what I'm trying to say is, if you can look down on your holster to make sure your holster is clear, then do it. You know what I'm saying? If people want to make fun of you, if your buddies at work want to make fun of you, oh, you have to look at your holster when you reholster, you're such a lame. Whatever, man, because at the end of the day, these pictures that I'm showing you, these aren't your average Joes. These aren't Uncle Bob on the range and he end up shooting himself when he's reholstering. This is from a law enforcement training academy. This is from a law enforcement training certification or whatever training they had going on. These are all law enforcement dudes, and this dude shot himself in the leg reholstering because he wants to be super fast reholstering to look super cool. Oh yeah, I could reholster real fast without looking. And I always said, and I even told my little brother when my little brother came from San Antonio, and he came and he went to the range with me, and he was, trying to reholster all super fast, and I even told him, I'll probably play the clip. Remember when you're about to holster your weapon, because you just kind of like flag yourself when you kind of pointed the gun like this. Yeah. You went like this. So make sure you got to pay attention to that, because you don't want to accidentally shoot yourself. You got to always think like the gun could go off for any minute. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So when you holstering, make sure, that's why I want you to look down and take your time. And even if you got to push your hip out a little bit to put it in there, then you push it out and get it in there. So that way you don't want the gun to be pointed at you, because that's where most accidents happen. When people shoot themselves, it's most of the times when they reholster. So because you might forget to put the safety down, right, your sweater might be in the way, and now you put it in there, the sweater gets stuck in the trigger, and then you shoot yourself trying to put the gun in. So that's why you have to pay attention, take your time, and reholster. You don't got to reholster all fast. Because if you're in a gunfight, you take that shot, you just shot somebody, you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna just keep your gun in your hand and then then you take your time and then reholster and shit, like, you know what I'm saying. So if you're in a gunfight, you're not gonna try to reholster right away. So don't try to reholster all fast. It doesn't matter how fast you reholster. You just want to make sure when you reholster, you take your time, make sure you close it out the way, and you make sure you get it in there. All right. Okay. Look, man, you don't have to reholster all fast. Take your time and make sure you're good. Clear your garments. Make sure nothing's blocking your holster before you reholster. Reholstering all fast doesn't mean anything. It's not going to do you any good, because if your gun is out and, let's say you have to use deadly force, you're not going to just hurry up and bam, use deadly force and reholster all fast. If you use deadly force, you're going to keep your gun out. You're going to make sure everything is cool first. You're going to make sure everything is good. You know what I'm saying? And then you want to reholster your weapon. So I don't understand where the concept came of reholstering super fast. I don't know when that became a thing. Like I said, there's no reason for you to reholster your weapon super fast. There's no logical reason. Like I said, unless you're a police officer or whatever, security, public safety, whatever you're doing, and you're going hands-on with somebody, and let's say you had your gun out for whatever reason and now you decide to go hands-on, okay, that's the only small percentage reason that I would see why you would want to reholster your weapon fast so you can get hands-on. That's the only reason. Other than that, I really see no other reason on why you would have your gun out pointed at somebody, and then you need to, whether you use it or not, and you need to reholster super fast. Like, I don't my brain just can't think of any scenario why I need to get my gun back in a holster super fast and break a world record reholstering. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand the purpose. And this is why I always say, man, if your gun is out of holster, whether you're on the range, you're training, whether it's your law enforcement, you're on duty or whatever, and you use your gun is out, and you have to use your weapon, or whether you use it or not, and you have to reholster. If you can look down, man, if you can take that 2 seconds just to look down and make sure your holster is clear, then you can do that. Because even if you're in law enforcement, for the most part, if you're a law enforcement officer, whatever you do, whatever category of law enforcement you do, your gear should be squared away. First of all, you should already be range testing. You should already be range tested your gear and your kit before you go out on duty to serve the public. So you should already know whatever little issues. But if you're a police officer, let's say, and you're chasing somebody, you're running, your gear's loose, your gear is flopping around, stuff flopping around, and let's say you got your gun up or whatever, that you're running with your gun, which you really shouldn't be running with your gun in your hand, but I understand situation dictates, whatever, and let's say, stuff is loose, you got your radio hanging down, you got stuff hanging down, and let's say your wire for your radio or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of police officers have those cool little earpieces now. Let's say your earpiece is hanging down into your holster, by in front of your holster, and you go to reholster and you don't look, and for some reason, let's say the earpiece swings into the muzzle, and the wire goes into, let me use this for example. Let's say your little earpiece from your ear is hanging. And let's say while you're putting your gun away, for some reason, the earpiece gets stuck into the trigger, right? Now remember, the earpiece is held on by a wire that's hanging off your vest or whatever. So now you have this earpiece stuck that's in the trigger, but you don't see it, you don't catch it, you're busy, you're focused, there's a guy running from you, there's a guy trying to beat you up or come at you with a knife or whatever it is you're about to go hands on, and you don't see your earpiece hanging, and it gets into your trigger, and now you reholster, and the earpiece is in the trigger guard, and now you go to push your gun down to reholster, and that earpiece pull your trigger, and now you shoot yourself in the leg, or your gun discharges. You know what I'm saying? So anything can happen. I know it seems slim, the chances of that happening is slim, but it can happen. Something can get into your trigger well, and get into the trigger while you're reholstering, and it pulls the trigger and the gun goes off. It's a possibility. So if you can take 2 seconds to look down and make sure there's nothing blocking your holster, nothing that can get dangling off your uniform that can get into the trigger, and if you can just look down and check your holster, then what's it gonna hurt? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't look super cool, spinning your gun in your finger, doing that spin and boom, reholster. Yeah, you're not going to get cool points for it, but who cares, man? At the end of the day, I would take 2 seconds to look down at my holster, and that's just a habit that I created. Whether I'm wearing my concealed handgun holster, whether I'm wearing my range holster, my duty belt holster for my daily duties or whatever, I always take that time to look down into my holster to make sure there's nothing blocking my holster. And 100% of the time so far, there hasn't been any piece of gear, any piece of kit dangling in front of my holster. But that one time that you don't check because you're hands-on with somebody. So if you're hands-on with somebody, your brain is everywhere. You're focusing on this person or threat or whatever it is you're focused on. So you might not, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, if you're in a hands-on situation and you got to reholster your weapon without looking, hey, you got to do that. You just got to do that. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not in imminent danger, you're not in a immediate hands-on situation, and you can look down and reholster, man. This speed reholstering, man, we definitely got to stop it, because if not, you're going to see more and more people that's going to shoot themselves in the leg reholstering because they want to reholster all super fast. I don't understand what's the rush in reholstering your weapon. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's two small little slim incidents that I can see in a law enforcement matter where you want to hurry up and reholster your weapon, but for the majority of the time, I think like 98% of the time that you reholster your weapon, man, you shouldn't be in a hurry. There should be no rush to reholster your weapon. So this is something that we need to talk about. This is something that needs to get out more. And like I said, this video is probably not going to get monetized, or it's going to have limited ads on it because of the graphic content of the pictures that I'm showing you. And like I said, man, these dudes aren't just average Joes just going to the range and he accidentally shot himself reholstering all fast. These are law enforcement officers that was on a range, whatever range certification or training they were doing or whatever. These are cops who handle guns and who's probably trained on a regular basis, and this happens to them. So if this can happen to a police officer who does this on a regular basis, it can definitely happen to you and me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we need to spread awareness and stop this whole cool guy shenanigans and let me reholster real fast because it looks cool. It looks cool for, you know what I'm saying? It looks cool for the gram, but how cool is it gonna look when you're all over, when pictures like this is all over the gram with you, with you blow a hole in your leg? Like, you know what I'm saying? And he got lucky, it didn't hit any of it didn't hit that femoral artery, that big artery. I can never say that word, man. You guys know what I'm talking about. That big artery that's in your damn leg, man. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know which one I'm talking about. He's lucky that it didn't hit that artery, man. It just kind of went in and out, came through by his ankle and stuff like that. And I read the story real quick. He said they're saying that the pain wasn't really from the gunshot itself, like the entrance. It was more in the exit room where it was close to like his ankle or something like that. So he said that's where most of the pain was. But yeah, man, we really need to spread awareness, and we really need to stop this cool guy notion of, hey, you don't have to look at your holster when you reholster. If you look at your holster before you reholster, you're amateur, you don't have any skills or whatever. We really need to get rid of that notion, man, because like I said, if you can look down at your holster just to make sure your holster is clear, why not do it? What's it gonna hurt? Yeah, you might not get cool points for it, but I mean, is cool points more than, not getting shot? You know what I'm saying? Is cool points more important to you than not getting shot for the gram? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm not trying to get shot, and I'm not trying to shoot myself. It's one thing to get shot from a bad guy. It's another thing when you shoot yourself. Come on, man. How do you come back from that, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't come back. You can't come back and be the cool guy after you try to bob yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? So don't shoot yourself trying to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Don't shoot yourself trying to reholster all fast and trying to look cool for the gram. You mess around and shoot yourself. Now you Cheddar Bob. You're part of the Cheddar Bob Club for life now. Ain't no coming back from that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So get this notion out your head, man. For all you guys out there, everybody, man, you don't have to reholster all super fast. I don't know where the speed reholster trend come from. You shoot, boom, 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 and then you reholster all fast. I don't know where that came from, man. But at the end of the day, man, there's absolutely zero reason for you to reholster all fast if you're not in a law enforcement type matter. You're not a police officer. You're not, for some reason you got to reholster and get hands on with somebody super quick. That's the only reason that I would see that you need to get your gun back in holster super fast. Is, like I said, if you're in a law enforcement, public safety type of position, and your gun was out for whatever reason, now you got to get it back in a holster real quick so you can get hands on with this person. That's the only time that I can see why you need to reholster super fast. Other than that, there's absolutely zero reason for you to get your gun back in the holster super fast to try to look cool, man. Like I said, I don't know where this came from. Like I said, I had a guy on Facebook, man. He was all in my comments talking about, are you even really this, and are you even really that? Because I never look at my holster when I'm reholstering. I just do it. I know exactly where it's at and this and that. I mean, that's cool and everything, but if you can take 2 seconds to look down real quick and make sure your holster is clear. You know what I'm saying? What's the big deal? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, homeboy try to, I guess make me feel bad, or try to drag me, as I like to say online. And, you got dragged. I was like, okay, whatever, dude. Homeboy try to, make me feel bad, and I'm just like, hey, bro, kudos for you for not having to look at your holster. I don't have to look at my holster either, but it's just something that I do just to make sure that my holster is clear before I reholster. But that's just me. But anyways, man, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed already, go on and hit the subscribe button for your boy, man. You know what I'm saying? You help the channel out, man. Go make sure you like. Make sure you share. Make sure you turn on the notification bell, man. Make sure you guys get notified every time we drop a new banging video here at Sealy Strategics, man. But until the next episode, man, it's your boy, Stash Sergeant Sealy. Just want to tell you guys, you know what? Be greater than you were yesterday, man. Always be ready so you don't have to get ready. We live to train because we train to live. But most of all, I need you guys to understand, you are your own first responder. Staff Sergeant Sealy's out, man. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.